Welcome to Pokemon Conspiracies, a place where we delve into the hidden and mysterious storylines scattered throughout the Pokemon universe. The GS Ball, the subject of great mystery and debate. Some may remember it as the plot focus of the Pokemon anime in the second and third season. Some may only know it as something they have seen on the internet. No matter what you know or think about the GS Ball, the fact is that it is and always will be one of the greatest secrets in the Pokemon universe. It was December 4th, 1999 when we first heard about the GS Ball here in the United States. The first episode of the second season of the anime, titled Pilot Party Panic, showed Ash receive directions from Professor Oak to travel to the Orange Islands in order to retrieve a mysterious Pokeball from Professor Ivy. 2 episodes later, in Pokeball Peril, Ash arrives on Valencia Island and finds Professor Ivy's lab. Ivy shows Ash that they are unable to open the GS Ball, even after trying all manners of brute force. The ball can also not be transferred through the computer system. Ash is told to bring the GS Ball back to Professor Oak. In the final 2 episodes of Season 2, Ash makes it back to Oak's lab and lets him examine it. Professor Oak is unable to discover who made the GS Ball or what could be inside. Ash learns that Gary is heading on an adventure to the Johto region and decides to do the same. Oak says that there is a man named Kurt who lives in Johto and asks Ash if he will deliver the GS Ball to him. Oak tells Ash that Kurt made all sorts of Pokeballs and that if there is anyone who could understand the GS Ball, it would be him. In episode 143, titled Going Apricorn, Ash finds Kurt and gives him the GS Ball. Kurt immediately tells him that he knows it's for sure some kind of Pokeball, and Kurt then tells him that he will need time to study the GS Ball. Ash and friends then leave the ball with Kurt. The only time that the GS Ball is seen after this point is in episode 150 when Ash sees it in a flashback. Besides that, the GS Ball is never shown or mentioned again. That's the full story that we as viewers are given about the GS Ball in the context of the anime, but there is more information to be found elsewhere. Most notably is the fact that the ball is gold and silver colored and has GS inscribed on it. It's no coincidence that this is the accompanying color for the games in the second generation. In the Japanese versions of Pokemon Crystal, there was also a GS Ball that could be received through an event. Once receiving the GS Ball, players would then take it to Kurt to be examined, and then to the Ilex Forest Shrine, where it could trigger an event for a level 30 Celebi. English versions of the game never got an event due to the lack of the Pokemon Mobile System GB, which was located inside a building called the Pokemon Communication Center, which was replaced by the Pokemon Center in Goldenrod City in the English versions. So we know that the GS Ball contains Celebi, so what happened to it? The answer to that question is pretty simple. In an interview with Masamitsu Hidaka in 2008, he said that the ball does in fact contain Celebi, and that the creators of the show had planned on having Celebi be a part of the main story while following Ash around on his journeys through Johto. But unfortunately for us, the creators decided to save Celebi for the 4th movie, so they scrapped the GS Ball idea entirely. The decision was made to never mention the ball again on the show in order to make the fans forget about it. It's a real shame since it's really easy to see what they were going for in regards to the GS Ball in the anime. In the games, you receive Celebi after Kurt examines the ball for you, and you take it to the Ilex Forest Shrine. In the anime, Ash takes the ball to Kurt in episode 143. 2 episodes later, Ash arrives at the shrine in the Ilex Forest. They simply acknowledge the shrine and move on. If the GS Ball idea had not been scrapped, it is very likely that we would have seen Kurt suggest that Ash takes the ball to the shrine. When Ash arrived at the shrine, we would have finally seen the ball open and reveal Celebi. It's a shame to know that we were only 2 episodes away from having Celebi as the newest member of the anime group. For 62 episodes, we watched the anime with the GS Ball as the plot focus. Just as we were about to see the mission pay off, the rug was ripped right out from under us. Even the title cards featured the GS Ball at this time. Just imagine how different the show would have been if Celebi was a main character. The fact that we know what was inside and what could have been makes the plot hole feel that much bigger. Further evidence of the cover-up can be seen when comparing the US release date of Crystal version with the US air date of certain episodes in the anime that contain the GS Ball. Crystal version was released in the US in July of 2001. The final episode of the anime to show the GS Ball aired in April of that same year. This means that the creators would have known about the scrapping of the GS Ball well before they released the Crystal version in the US. This gave them time to remove the Pokemon Communication Center from the game and remove the GS Ball event entirely. This would help avoid bringing further attention to the GS Ball and would aid the anime in ignoring its existence. This left the Ilex Forest Shrine as an oddly useless landmark in the games, as well as a gaping hole in the plot of the anime. It also establishes Celebi, along with Mew, as one of the most mysterious legendary Pokemon in the game and anime universes. Celebi has had very few distribution events, and was the only Gen 2 Pokemon to not be available in Gold, Silver, or Crystal versions in the US. In the Gen 2 remakes, there was an in-game event at the Ilex Forest Shrine that could be triggered if you held Celebi in your party. But this time, there was no mention of the GS Ball. Though the answers for its disappearance are clear, the fact remains that up until episode 143, a story was created around the GS Ball, and this means that there are still real questions that are left unanswered. Like, where did Professor Ivy get the GS Ball in the first place? Who created it? What did it have to do with Ho-Oh and Lugia? And what did Kurt do with it? These questions are things I plan to address in future videos, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. Don't forget to take this opportunity to join the crew by subscribing to my channel below, and follow us on Twitter at TimeCapsuleCrew to join the conversation. We'll see you next time.